between Democrats and Republicans. It is, however, in the national interest to ratify New START. I'm joined now by Senator Shaheen, the Democrat from New Hampshire. Senator Shaheen, it's good to see you today.
Nice to be with you.
Why is it, do you think, that even the START treaty has become a weapon to wield in these political battles?
Well, you know, I think ultimately we're going to get the START treaty to the floor of the Senate and we're going to pass it. There is a long history of broad bipartisan, in fact overwhelming bipartisan support for passing the previous START treaties. There are 3 of them. They've all passed overwhelmingly. This is a treaty that's in our national security interest. The military establishment, the intelligence establishment in this country have said this is important. We know that our NATO allies believe it's important. Last week in Lisbon at the NATO summit, they all came out and said this is something that the United States should do. So I am optimistic that we're going to get this done this year.
You know, here's the thing. It's almost as though Democrats have one piece of leverage to use over Republicans in the House at this point, and that's tax cuts for the rich. And so do you get to do a quid pro quo just for one piece of legislation, or will compromising on tax cuts for the rich work for Don't Ask, Don't Tell, for unemployment benefits, I don't know, for the DREAM Act?
Listen, this should not be about a quid pro quo. This should be about what's in the best interest of the United States of America. And what we know, based on everybody who's involved in the national security establishment, Republican and Democrat, we've had 6 former secretaries of state, 5 former secretaries of defense, Republican and Democrat, all say this is in the best interest of the United States. If we want to address the concerns about Iran and North Korea, as I think you pointed out earlier today, we had an op-ed today in the Washington Post talking about the connection between getting START done and being able to build international support to address Iran and the threat of Iran getting a nuclear weapon. So this is critical. We need to get this done, and we need to get everybody to rally behind this.
Well, but it seems, as things stand right now, good luck with that. I mean, here's Mitch McConnell's response to the tax cuts. Let me play it.
Every Republican will vote against proceeding to any legislative matter until we've funded the government and protected every taxpayer from a tax hike.
Okay, so if that's the Republican priority, how do you get Republicans to focus on anything else, even if it is of national security interest?
Well, clearly we need to address what we're going to do about the tax cuts as well. What I believe we need to do is extend the middle class tax cuts. I'm disappointed that we have so many of our colleagues on the other side of the aisle who are willing to put at risk national security, at risk what's happening with those people who are unemployed in this country because they want a small percentage of the wealthiest in this country to continue to get tax breaks at a time when we know that those tax breaks are not going to help with job creation. So I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to get this worked out. We need to do this. We need to extend the middle class tax cuts. We need to make sure that those people who are unemployed can continue to get their benefits. And we need to pass the START treaty.
Senator Shaheen, your priorities laid out there. Let's see if you can get your colleagues on the other side of the aisle to join you in that. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Not much of a celebration.